Only Duck, Zero, Omni-Man, Jidong Poker, Probel against Mazer and Ledig, then Jiraiya and Banana against Ransor and Lindon.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of great games ahead of us tonight. And I think Lindon was replaced, XuN was replaced by Lindon. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up later.
That's a little bit of a shame. Would have liked to see the aggressive XuN in action, but nonetheless, we've got Lindon instead. That's all good. So, Mad, tell me what you think about some of these players we got today. What do you think about?
It's been a while since I actually followed 2 scene, so it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be some standard games or if there are some new tactics and how some of the maybe lesser known players will cope with the big names. I think we can have a few surprises today.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm a little bit in the same boat as you. Haven't been following the 2v2 scene for quite some time. I do remember back in the day, though, we used to see a lot of really nice, hot 2v2 action in the Pro League with the Koreans. It used to be really fun watching those guys go at it.
I think we can just maybe go ahead with the first game and take it from there. With I think JD Conan, I know he's a strong Bolivian Zerg, I think, so his 1 versus 1 is pretty decent. Same with Strudel. His Terran is a pretty strong 1 versus 1 player. And Alpha, Alpha, I don't know really much about him. And T1 Dragon, I see his name comes up a lot in in the shield battery, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think Dragon's a pretty strong 1v1 player. I think he's around 23, 2400 S rank. All right, guys, we're going to be going into the first series between Conan and Alpha against Strudel and Dragon, coming right up. Alright guys, for the blue team, we have none other than Strudel, spawning in the top right as the Terran, and in the top left, Conan as the Zerg. And on the other side of the map, on Luna, the remake, it is none other than Dragon in the bottom left, as the Protoss, and his ally, Alpha in the bottom left, and his ally in the bottom right, none other than Dragon.
Going to be interesting to see how usually two Protoss versus Terran Zerg is considered one of the hardest matchup, but I think it's fun to play 2P, and sometimes you can send out two probes, early aggression on the Terran and harass his SCVs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be really frustrating to deal with that, especially if you're trying to get a wall up and you've got 2 probes harassing those SCVs trying to build the buildings. It can be really annoying for the Terran player getting his tech online early.
Yeah, imagine having 4 probes. Annoying. And you can see the map is Luna, and this is a remake of the old version. I don't know how old Luna is, probably 20 years old, and it was due time to remake it and fix the mineral pathing and more gas on the map. The third expansions have gases.
Yeah, I really love to see this map. It's a great classic, and one thing I love about BSL is that we do see remakes of the maps being used and some other new spicy maps added to the pools as well. So really happy to see someone like Zero, kind of leading the way forward with the torch and showing us that there's more exciting action to be had on these great maps.
In the beginning, we can see a pretty normal game. Dragon looks like he tried to gas steal. Strudel, I think maybe he should have sent out the probe faster, because when you know they're Terran Zerg and you are 2 Protoss, you don't want the Terran to get gas. You want to delay it as long as possible.
Is that so basically once they get their Vulture tech out, it's going to really shut down these slow Zealots, so you really want to delay that as much as possible to deny that map control coming up?
It's hard for the Protoss team to defend versus, for example, mass Hydras and siege tanks. You don't really have anything to deal with that pressure. because you don't have the air support. You could try to do some Corsairs and do disruption web, but that requires
a lot of execution.
Good execution.
All right, we see the quick 1-gate tech coming out of Dragon here. Do you think he's going to be wanting to go into like really fast Dragoons here, or how will they want to first deal with the initial Ling and the tech from the Terran?
I'm not sure. Did it look like he made a forge as well? Is there a forge? Yeah, forge. I don't really like this opening. It's a bit too passive. Even though we are 1-gate, the Terran player won't be out on the map for another good minute or two.
Right.
So you really just don't have to worry about the Zerg player not getting up your ramp. As you can see here, Alpha is doing a good job with 2 zealots and a probe, so you don't really need a cannon. The cannon could have been a 2nd gate and a faster core.
Yeah, how do you feel about these lunar ramps? They're a little bit wider than a lot of the ramps that we're used to in the current meta, aren't they? Do you think that will change anything here, having this slightly wider gap into our choke?
Yeah, I've been tricked a lot of times on Luna, thinking my zealots have been in a perfect position, and then all of a sudden you have links running in your base and game over. So, but I think you can block the ramp using only 2 zealots, but you have to place them pretty much perfect.
It looks like we are going to be seeing that 3-fact Vulture coming out of Strudel, wanting to get a lot of map pressure out early on and being able to deal with these slow zealots until the pros players are able to tech up. Ooh, weapons upgrade.
I don't think you really need. You don't need +1 air because they know the Zerg is only on 1 base.
Do you think this is a little bit of a mind game and he's just trying to fake range, or what do you think this is for here?
I don't think so, because they don't see it. There's no Overlord hovering over his base, so they don't know if it's spinning or not.
Do you not think it's a little bit excessive, both players going for the air here?
Yeah, it could have been a little bit miscommunication. Usually you either have one player go mask around 3 gates with the zealots and observers, because you're gonna have to, you will need it, versus the mines. But let's see, maybe they do some tricky stuff. But a scout, I don't know, maybe, but it's expensive and 1 scout doesn't do much.
Right. It's a big investment, like 275 minerals, 125 gas, like not really something you want to just like throw away in a 2v2 when you're both on such low economies.
Yeah, and Conan is already, he has a spore up because he anticipates the Corsairs coming.
Well, he certainly will lose their superiority eventually, so he does need to have spores, I think.
Yeah, he will need the spore for early pressure, but I think actually both teams are playing a bit passive. It's really securing the map now with a lot of mines and vultures, so giving up free space for Conan to take an expansion for free.
And they're going to be putting on a little bit of pressure at the bottom. Here is Conan and Strudel. It's bed vultures ranging down the zealots. You can kind of see up these ramps a little bit if you're too far down, so going to have to shuffle up those zealots a bit more to the top.
I think Alpha might be in trouble.
There's only 1 cannon.
1 cannon and 1 zealot is almost dead.
It will be hard for Conan to help with much in the way of mutas for a little while, but just these Zergling support alone will be enough to help these vultures get some work done if they do decide to dive on him. But now, looks like Strudel going to be rotating around to the bottom right quadrant of the map, trying to put on a little bit of pressure on Dragon, lay down some mines, and keep some good vision out on the map.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how many zealots are going to be left alive when the Pros teams finally move out.
Well, we have some Scourge trying to move in to intercept these Corsairs, but wisely Alpha going to be maintaining that fleet. Needs to get up to 6 Corsairs before he can start one-shotting these Scourge. They're going to be dancing around near the safety of the cannon on the right-hand side towards the ramp.
Yeah. I think he will have to add a cannon in his main, unless they can start cutting the muted count and the Scourge count.
Well, he can camp this Stargate with these 2 Scourge and catch the 4th Corsair.
Yeah.
He doesn't make a cannon.
It looks like that's what he's trying to do, yeah.
Oh, doesn't quite get it though.
Scourgers are not the brightest unit as well, so it would probably have missed when it popped out.
Yeah, they are flying units, but they do basically have melee range, so they're the most stupid unit in the game, essentially. Okay, so we have some Corsairs flying around trying to get some map. He does have to be a little bit careful with these Corsairs, though, Mad, because he can't afford to lose any of these before he gets his fleet up and running.
Yeah, one Corsair down, and they could risk losing the battle, air battle.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't move out on the map, because who's gonna invest on the Robotics to get the observer? We can see that Dragon has quite a lot of gas, actually. I don't know how he managed to do that with Corsair and +1 air and ground.
But with them both going Corsair, there's just not enough resources to put into that robotics and observatory. So it's gonna be a little bit strange unless they want to like try and invest in some kind of D-web play later on, and it isn't a miscommunication. But it does feel a little bit strange that they both opened up Corsair when I think just the one Protoss on the left would have been great. If just Alpha had gone Corsair, I think that would have been more than enough to deal with the shutdown.
Yeah, it's splash damage, so they can risk killing themselves.
Yeah, it's not ideal in a 2v2 situation. Units like Lurkers, Corsairs, anything that has splash can be a bit of a nuisance to your ally as well as your enemy. Catch all these Mutas though, completely shutting down the air force of Conan. That's going to allow them to come out on the map.
Yeah, you can also see the splash damage attacking each other. And Dragon has +1, so he does more damage as well. But it's... wasn't there supposed to be a gas on the 3rd expansion? Or yeah, it's okay, so maybe I picked the wrong map, but it seems like they're fine with it. Nobody's typing anything that we know of.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're communicating by voice, obviously. Yeah, maybe there is some lack of communication between these two players at the moment, but nonetheless, they need to be able to come out on this map now. Alpha taking his expansion will be able to start to grow his production that he needs to be able to fight this Terran later on. There's the fleet beacon, so I do think we are going to be seeing those D-words we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but they are a few minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
And still no sight of Robotics, so... But as a 2v2 player, it's pretty fun to see 4 1v1 players playing, because you can see it in the style. They're pretty much playing 1v1 versus 1v1.
Yeah, it's kind of... Oh, the Corsairs get intercepted by those Scourge, though. Almost all of them, but one goes down for Alpha. So now maybe the Zer can get a little bit of map control. It does have this 2-base economy with the 3rd base going online at the 12 o'clock as well. So maybe we'll be able to put out a bit more pressure and not just Lings to kind of help Strudel get the kill here.
Yeah, I think they can just siege up and maybe just A move as well. Dragoons doesn't fare well against this combination.
No, there's quite a few siege tanks that have been built up over time as well. 4 siege tanks in a great spot. It's going to be really hard for Alpha to come up here and challenge this. Meanwhile, the Vulture's going to be streamlining into the natural, taking out a few of those probes as well, limiting the economy of the already starved Alpha, only on 21 probes. Likewise, his ally with Dragon, whereas we have 32 SCVs and 33 drones for Conan. So it's a big economic lead for the other team right now.
Yeah, they have a very healthy economy, and you can see Conan is just building up mass hatches and preparing to switch over to mass hydras, and without an expansion you can't afford getting the storms you need. And
yeah, a little bit of a counterattack coming in from behind with some zealots, but there's just too much set up here for Strudel. It's just going to melt anything that comes in from either angle for the time being.
I'm not sure, but I believe some of the players are at risk of dropping out of the bracket if they lose, so you can see that's maybe why they're a bit stubborn staying in the game.
You definitely want to play it out, even if it looks bleak, right? You want to give it every chance, even if it's like a very small... Oh, some D-webs though coming out on these tanks. They are a little bit clumped, so with enough D-web, he's going to be able to dislodge this position. The Lings are coming in to try and prevent the Dragoons from getting anything done. There are also still some mines here. It's going to be a little bit hard for him to attack out here without losing some of his units. Oh, it's a beautiful mine hit, taking out 2 of Alpha's Dragoons there.
Yeah, now we can see the difficulty of being 2 products. You're kind of fighting alone. 1 versus 2, you have the support of the D-web, but Dragon doesn't have any units to support, so you can't really sandwich their army.
Yeah, you need to kind of meet up and fight as a team, but the way that the way that Strudel and Kona have played this out, they've really isolated both of these Protoss players and are able to deal with them one at a time, and that's really what you want to do in 2v2. If you can isolate the players and stop them from joining up their armies to fight you as a team, you can just get an easy advantage like this and take quite a quick win. We see so many siege tanks and hydras moving into this low ground area, now starting to push up the target. There's only one cannon here, Maz. I think he's going to break through quite easily.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end, but that's a good D-web, but not enough ground units to take out the siege tanks.
Yeah, there's just no way Dragon can come over here and help him either. He doesn't even know how many mines there are out on the map or anything, so he's going to make the effort, I think, and start to come over here now, but it might be too little too late. It's just a little flood of speed zealots. They will be able to mine drag, maybe if there were mines. There would be some small glimmer of hope, but now with the hydras coming in, he's not even going to get his expansion online.
Sending out your zealots now is a little bit like playing a jigsaw game. Sending out and see how many survives.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a hope and a gamble right now. It's possible that maybe they would get something done and maybe he would help his ally hang on there, but it's looking pretty bleak for them. Alpha is now down to 13 probes, completely wiped out. GG is called.
It's a solid game from a Terran Zerg player. They didn't seem to communicate that much. You can see any blinking on the map, and I think maybe because they have played a lot of games together, so they know each other's style and know what to do. So
yeah, sometimes people have that natural chemistry where they kind of instinctively know what they need to do and don't need to communicate verbally or visually too much, but it looked like they had a bit of a hard time in that game.
it's going to be interesting to see what map Dragon and Alpha pick. I assume it's their map to pick, and maybe they have some different strategy on perhaps a more favored Protoss map.
What do you think about Sparkle for 2 Protosses because of the ability to shut down the Zerg with the Corsair? Do you think that was going to be an idea for them to pick Sparkle? Or do you think that's a bad idea against the Terran Zerg combo?
I think that's a great idea to pick Sparkle. As you say, if they both do Corsair, it's easy to dominate the map, and you pretty much get free expansion, so you could switch to carriers pretty fast,
right?
And just hold the first most likely vulture drop. Or I've seen some of the Koreans doing cloak rate, but
yeah, cloak rate is good, and if you're not, the only thing I would say is a bit of an issue is dealing with Corsair users. You know, Wraiths are like paper planes; they can die very quickly if you mismicro them.
Yeah. Paper planes, they're paper thin as well. So.
Alright, well, in just a moment, we're going to be going into game number 2 between these absolute powerhouse players.
Yeah, I think we're having a little bit of hosting issues that the Battle.net is.
Yeah, typical Battle.net in good form today, as always.
Probably gonna have a new update or something in the near future, the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, well, one can hope. I'm sure the intern will finish drinking his coffee eventually and get on it.
Hopefully the intern can update the color pack of in BroodWar, because there are a few colors I'm missing, like a lighter version of orange, perhaps. So if they could focus on that and just drop the 2 versus 2 scene and get more colors.
That would be nice. It would also be good if they could handle the randomized colors better in team games. Like, say you're playing a 3v3 or whatever. Like, rather than giving the other team magenta and the other team purple, it allows you to lock out those choices when you select them in the lobby. But in the game, it just gives you to them anyway, right?
Yeah, and three different shades of white. You have 2 white and a light gray. So
yeah, white versus grey, not really fun to play or watch.
No, I hate playing with Shift Tab as well, so you see the red and blue, red and yellow team. But because I can tell the difference if I'm looking at the minimap, and so I saw something. But if I have the color, I can know if it's a shuttle or if it's mutas or whatnot. But I struggle to see if there are 2 Zergs that are white. I have no idea whose links are fighting and if we're winning, and why are my teammate killing my SCVs.
It's kind of annoying because you kind of want to have it set up so you can just see what's on the minimap really easily. But if you do have it all the same color, like red or yellow, then you can't really distinguish who's who on the minimap, and it's harder to make those decisions in 2v2, right? So it's a bit
Yeah, it
frustrating.
is.
All right, guys, we're going to be going into game number 2 between these two teams, Conan and Alpha going up against Strudel and Dragon. Conan and Alpha looking like they ran away with it there. Strudel and Dragon having a really hard time getting on themselves online, but let's see if they can pick it out in game number 2 with a better map pick. All right, in the top right, we've got Alpha as the red Protoss. His teammate on the left-hand side of the map. On Sparkle, like we thought, it's Dragon in those sporty light blue trunks. And on the opposing team, in the bottom left, it's Conan. Going to be rather happy about getting this early expansion, but maybe a little bit daunted about the prospect of Corsairs on this map. And his teammate on the right-hand side is the pink Terran. None other than Strudel, showing some great map control and execution in the last game.
Yeah, DC, it's pretty important to have the map control. You can see Protoss and Zerg usually go out on the map and the Zerg player has burrow, but when you have a Terran player you have the mines, so you don't really need a burrow. And pretty much if you're active on the map and constantly laying out mines, it pretty much gives you a map pack. So.
And they've kind of taken all of that luxury away from Strudel and Conan by picking this map Sparkle, haven't they, man?
Yeah, I think Sparkle is a great pick. It's going to be interesting to see how Conan plays this right now. As a Zerg player on this map, I would like to see him try for the nudist play, and maybe just do a little turtle style, try to get an expansion.
Yeah, we do see him taking that 12 hatch as we would probably expect, but I don't know what he's going to be choosing after the fact. Currently, looks like Strudel just going to be teching, getting that early gas, which is more than expected right now.
And as a Zerg player, you get third gas as well, because Zerg is the only race that can put another assimilator on in the corner with the layer there.
Right, so you will have a lot more healthier production of gas than you would usually, but it still can be daunting, right? Just because you've got that third gas doesn't mean you're going to have air superiority or anything. Dealing with two Protoss players on a map like this, they could just shut you down with like a strong Corsair fleet.
Just gonna say, don't think we have game sound. Is it just with me?
So, Mad, one thing I think we should say is that I think it's very unlikely that Strudel will go for Wraiths in this game, just with the likelihood of the potential superiority of Corsairs. Like, you would risk just losing all of those Wraiths, and certainly wouldn't want to see a Muta Wraith pairing going up against these two
So
players.
I think as well, if the Zerg tries to harass Dragon, that gives Strudel a window to drop or harass Alpha, but yeah, it's right.
Wow. I did not expect that. Maybe they're doing that because it's unexpected, though. This might actually meta and mind game these two Protosses a little bit. Maybe they wouldn't be expecting this coming out of Strudel.
But it seems, I think Alpha is going for a fast 4 Zealot drop. You can see it's already having 3 and probably starting another one and the shuttle at the same time. Yeah.
So we're going to be having maybe a little bit of 4 Zealot drop action into the main base of one of these two players. Quite likely Strudel. You will see this.
The Terran player won't. I mean, you usually don't have a lot of ground units in your base unless you're doing drop, and Strudel is seeing everything Alpha is doing, so he will probably add a few vultures. If not already, he will have his Wraiths out, so he can intercept the shuttle.
He should have the Wraith out in time to deal with the shuttle, right? I don't think you can get a shuttle in before the first Wraith is done.
Yeah, shuttle dies so fast as well to the Wraiths.
It looks like he might just decide to go for the Zerg instead and not want to be intercepted by the Wraith on the way. Of course, they're going to be taking out one of the Overlords for Conan while he chips away at that Side Disruptor in his natural.
I like this from Conan. He has the Hydro Den, so he can get rid of those Corsairs. He have a few Zerglings to open up for the second gas. So, yeah, I don't think the Zealots could do much here.
Yeah, but these Corsairs are going to be escorting this shuttle, though. So at least he will get in with it, but he has got 3 Hydras and some Lings. He is target downing that shuttle very quickly. The shuttle's already dead. Now he's just got to worry about these slow Zealots. As long as he can mitigate some drone losses, it won't be all too bad. The Wraith coming in to try and harass these Corsairs a little bit, distract them, while the drones try and get on top of the Zealots. Pretty good drilling so far, but there's only 2 Hydras worth of damage right now, man.
Yeah, but he's losing all of his
Overlords.
All of his Overlords, yeah.
It's looking pretty dicey for Conan. He's down to 25-19 supply, and it's a lot of minerals to be replacing those Overlords this early on in the game.
You can see Strudel, he went Adams right away, so he will have Cloak pretty fast. So when he gets the up to 4 or 5 Wraiths and hunting down the Corsairs, they're going to die pretty fast as well, and then you have a total switch of map control.
Do you think that Alpha will have to coordinate an Observer to escort the Corsairs in this game? Do you think we're going to see Observer speed as helping out the Corsair to deal with these raids? They're getting on top of the Corsairs now, chasing them down with the Cloak.
Yeah, look, you could try turn around and fight your own Corsairs and use the splash damage, but
I remember Pusan, the Korean player Pusan has done that to kill Cloak Wraiths in the past, targeting down your own units with those Corsairs to splash them down. Always a fun way of dealing with Wraiths if you can pull it off.
Yeah, it's not easy, but you can see, again, a little bit of lack of communication between the Kratos team, because they are both having Robotniks, and you're not really spending the gas on the things you should be spending gas on. Instead of, maybe Alpha could have used Observers if he already had the Robotniks.
Shudo going to be taking out that probe in the natural of Dragon, slowing down that expansion. Just a little bit annoying for Dragon, going to be have to sending another probe to do that soon. So far, I would say pretty good player from the Terran, providing support to the Zerg in the early game, making sure he didn't take too much damage. We lost a few Overlords, a little bit of mining time, a couple of drones, but not really the critical damage they were maybe looking for with those 4 Zealots early.
Looks like JD Conan is preparing to do some sort of Doom drop, because they have this Hydra Speed and Speed Overlord. I think maybe he did... I would not be surprised if he did the drop first and then the speed later.
Yeah, well, he has the Spire to kind of make some Scourge and maybe mind game that he might be wanting to make some mutas at some time. But I think you're right. I think it's going to be just a fleet of Scourge for the time being, with Carapace upgrade on the way. But he's going to be wanting to do maybe a big force of Hydra with the drop tech.
If Strudel cloaks, I'm going. He can kill all the shuttles now. There's no Observer.
No Observer.
The Observer is coming, but it's so late. But Strudel has to be careful.
Oh, he doesn't have Observer speed. It's taken so long to get over here, and these Wraiths are in the large enough force to easily one-shot these probes. So they're going to be taking out a little bit of the economy for Alpha as well on the way out.
And slow shuttles is not something you really want to see. It's going to take a minute to fly down to Protoss and to Terran, and if you're going to reload, it takes like 2 minutes to get another load of Dragoons.
And one of those Scourge did connect on the Corsairs, so softening one of those up as well, so opening them up to some good Wraith micro later on. If he starts whittling down this Corsair fleet, it's going to be really bad news for the Protoss players. If they lose any form of air superiority now, it's going to be really hard for them to protect one another and deal with the drop play and Wraiths coming up.
Yeah, neither of the Protoss player has an expansion, and you can see both Terran and Zerg has at least one each, and Strudel with a healthy gas bank.
Yeah, I have to say, Matt, it really does look like Strudel and Conan are the better team right now. They've kind of outmaneuvered Alpha and Dragon on both maps, even this one. That is the choice of Alpha and Dragon. So I would say, so far, they're definitely looking like they're going to take this series.
Yeah, and you can see Alpha, he's been cutting a lot of probes. He's still on 15 probes, that's just 12 on the mineral paths. So when he do get an expansion, he won't have enough probes to transfer.
Yeah, that's going to be really rough for them. I mean, they have a collective 36 probes, and Strudel has more SCVs than that. They're really far behind in the economic curve of this game, man.
Yes, Strudel has more units than them combined.
He's a monster right now. Look at him go. He's nearly at 100 supply. He's like doubling the supply of the 2 Protosses alone.
Trying to win the Pimpest Play Award 2023. Slow Witcher drop.
Well, one thing that I think that's going to be really hard for Team Alpha and Dragon is they're not going to be able to meet up to help one another very easily. We've just got these Corsairs supporting Alpha on the right-hand side of the map, and it's not really going to be enough with the skirmishing of the Wraiths. You can just scan, snipe the shuttles, come back out. It's going to be really hard for them to keep up with these Wraiths. And ooh, may even get this High Templar.
Look how fast the Wraiths die. And he also, like you said, he got the observer speed.
I think that's required against the Wraith Harasses. I think without it, you just lose all air superiority. There's no way you can fight this anymore.
And they know the Corsairs are on the other side of the map, so Conan's trying to do some harassment. +2 car pace is almost done, so then the Corsairs won't do much.
I think he does have armor for those Corsairs, but only +1 attack. Oh, nice pick on that shuttle. So
Conan is patrolling the other side of the map, so he sees when the other Corsairs are returning home, so he can harass as much as he wants. He's not worried about those.
We got some Archons loading up into these shuttles. Now that can be a good way to turn the tables on Strudel and Conan if they're unprepared for it. If he somehow gets those Archons to start getting some good shots off on the Muters and the Wraiths, maybe they can start to get a lot more map control here, but they're going to have to make it work soon. Yeah, it's like that. It's like... Okay, he's not going to get any picks off with those Scourge. He's got quite a few Corsairs going to be escorting this fleet over to the left-hand side of the map so they can join forces and maybe do a launch attack into the Zerg's base in the bottom left quadrant of the map. We have a big Overlord fleet loaded up for a drop in the main. They might intercept each other right now. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, he dropped them. What?
I think he was trying to intercept the shuttles with the Hydras, but they've been outmaneuvered. And D-Webs are ready, so yeah, this is going to be really hard for the Zerg player to handle. The Terran has to come over and help now. Oh, Scourge moving in. Oh, 2 shuttles go down.
Wait, remember he picked them all out of his Hydras. I was going to say he's going to be fine because he has so many units in at home. But he picked them up, at least 20 Hydras that is not in his base, so this can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to get those Hydras back into his base without Overlords dying to the Corsairs as well, so he's kind of outplayed himself a little bit. Conan in a little bit of disarray. His army is now separated from helping out his own main base, meanwhile taking the expansion with these Hydras at this third base location. He's got his Hive online, he had everything going for it, but now he's taking a lot of critical damage. He is still on 28 drones, so he hasn't lost a lot of his economy, but they might get this Hive if they don't clean this up soon, man.
Now we have the fleet of vultures coming to the rescue, so...
Oh, beautiful D-Web shutting down the DPS as well.
Start digging down the Hive, I think they're gonna get it, yeah.
They get it. That's actually pretty big for Team Alpha and Dragon here, getting that Hive. It's not a win by any means, but it's definitely something they can work with. Now, though, we do have a counterattack in the main base of the Protoss player in the top left. Conan launching an assault with those Hydras. There's not a lot here to defend it either.
No, because Dragon hasn't been doing any ground.
He's been making carriers.
Yeah.
He's in trouble.
Hydra's killed cannons way too fast.
And the Terran player is here to support with his Wraiths as well, so he might even lose these Corsairs shortly. They do try to intercept some of these Overlords, and the Observer goes down, so now these Corsairs are just dead in the water.
Look at Strudel. He's like the Swiss bank over there. He has so many expansions, and he can do whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah, he could even loan out a lot of money to these other players, maybe. GG is called from Alpha.
That's an expansive catch from Strudel, taking down the rest of the Protoss fleet.
Wow, rather convincing 2-0 lead there.
Yeah, and a surprisingly quick game as well, because I think the Terran Circle team was quite active on the map, so they knew. They were not worried about killing a drop or cheese. I think maybe if the Protoss team had not picked Sparkle, I'd like to see them try to do some proxy gates or something, some cheese play.
Yeah, something to put on a bit more pressure so they can't just let Strudel macro up like a beast every game. All right, well, we're going to be taking a quick short intermission, then going into our next series between Jonek, Only Dark versus Zero and Omni-Man, our first Zerg team of the night.
Bata is the name of the dance we do down Johannesburg way. Hit it!
That was a pretty intense series number one. Kind of surprised it was that convincing and that fast. Looked like one team had way better coordination and map control and strategy than the other team. Alpha and Dragon really struggling up against it, and Strudel and Conan coming out with a very convincing win there, Matt. How do you feel about going into this next series?
Yeah, like we mentioned in the beginning, that both those players are strong 1v1 players, as you can see in their style. So I'm not surprised seeing them advanced. But for the next series, I think we're gonna see some good. I think you said the first Zerg team, but I think it's Terran and Zerg versus Protoss and Zerg.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought we were casting it in a different order. My bad.
Yeah, because I think myself are getting a bit confused in the bracket since the team is on opposite sides. If you understand what I'm thinking about, like it doesn't say John.
Oh,
Zero
yes.
on
I
one
was
side
reading.
versus-
Yeah, I was reading it wrong. Okay, I understand now. I was reading it left and right rather than top and bottom. Right.
So I think we're going to have. I'm not sure what's the map. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can bring out, and if it's the correct map this time, we're gonna see more gas units, and that usually favors the Protoss and Zerg team. But on the old Luna, Terran and Zerg is pretty strong, because eventually the Protoss and Zerg runs out of gas, but Terran seems to have infinitive gas when as soon as the vessel count is starting to rise.
It seems like Terrans in general in TV2 seem a lot more gas efficient as a race.
It pains me to say this, but as a Terran player, there are two great sounds in the world, and that is vessels dying and opening a cold one. So, with that being said, we are ready.
All right. We're going to hop straight into it in game number one between Jonic and Zero against Only Dark and Omni-Man. Let's get right into it on Luna. Spawning in the top left as the magenta Protoss, it's Only Dark. And his teammate in the top right, Omni-Man as the bluish grey Zerg. On the opposing team, we have Jonic as the yellow Terran in the bottom left here. And his ally, the man, the legend, Zero.
Mr. Bombastic himself.
Bombastic himself.
Another great thing about the Luna remake is that it's a little bit easier for a Terran player to make a wall. On the old Luna, it was kind of awkward to make a good wall that was tight versus rush, but now it's a little bit easier, unless you're Jonic, who seems to make his own walls. I think it's a bit misplaced.
What's he got in mind here? Is that still wall if he puts the depot to the top right and the barracks to the bottom? Is that still wall?
Yeah, maybe.
It looks like it's loose on the bottom though, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it's probably, it's tight on the top. When the second depot goes on top, it's tight. Yeah.
But do you think the bottom of the barracks is loose against lings or anything like that?
Oh, it's gonna be link tight.
Okay. So he's got his own little style of a wall. I'm sure he's tested it out, and he's not going to be making a mistake like that in this Pro League.
It's going to be interesting to see. Johnny's opening with the gas, and so is only as well as Only Dark's opening gas. So are we going to see Omni-Man going mass links with dragoons, or maybe they're trying the aggressive Korean way, doing ling mutas with one hatch without cannons?
Well, Or do you think we're going to be seeing any tech from the Zerg players, or do you think they're both going to be wanting to get more production early with a hatchery, or do we think we're going to see maybe a fast layer out of Zero?
I think, yeah, I was going to say he's cutting the gas, so
Yeah.
it's hard for Zerg holding versus Protestant Zerg if they're going mass links and dragoons. There are only a few Zergs that can hold that type of pressure.
Yeah, and I guess Zero needs to get a lot of links out here, especially with his Terran ally not even going to be able to help him for some time. But once they do join forces in the mid game, I think they'll be very strong.
Yeah, and Omni-Man, he has the advantage of being able to place his hatch on the cliff, so it's going to be hard to get into his space, so he won't be needing the cannons. Which as Zero, it's hard to get the hatch on the cliff there if you're experiencing early cellar pressure.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, that will enable Dragoons to put a lot of pressure on Zero later on in the game by not having those Sunkens out on the ramp. So it does give a small edge to them positionally, having to force Zero to making that hatchery more in his main base and affording Omni-Man this beautiful forward hatchery to secure that ramp against any Vulture pressure early on or what have you.
But the good thing about having your second hatch in your main is that you don't have to put down as much minerals for spores. You can pretty much cover your base with just 2 in the main instead of 2 on the ramp and 2 in the main. So later on, when you do eventually switch over to Mutas yourself, you will have those spare minerals to use.
Do you think it's going to be important for Omni-Man to try and squeeze out a few greedy drones to compensate for that?
I think, yeah, as you say it, you can see the greedy drones popping up.
That's what I was thinking anyway.
Yeah, a mind reader. I think if they're going to attack, Omni-Man have to start making some Zerglings. He only have 12, I think, and he's supply blocked. But which is fine. He knows the Terran and the Zerg team can't attack up that ramp, even though he only has 10 Zerglings. And but he has 2 Sunkens, and with a good drone drill, the TC team won't get up.
Yeah, one thing to note is that not only is Sunkens on high ground really just valuable in general because of the mischance and the choke point, but with the drone drilling, it basically increases their value like exponentially. It's really hard to break a ramp that's being properly drone drilled and there's Sunkens behind it.
I do like his sunk placement as well, because the only way the vultures can get in is the bottom of the hatch, and if he starts fighting a little bit with the Zerglings, he can move them down to the hatch and make a tight choke, because I think the drones can drill over the hatch.
Yeah, he can also he can also lava trick over to the left and make an overlord while the egg is like floating. You see how the lava sometimes goes off to the left? You can make that into an egg and make it an even tighter choke there as well.
I honestly, I think you have to be the only player to ever thought about that. I'm going to block with an egg.
I do it all the time. I love it. He could have done it as well. Look at the lava just chilling there. He could have made an overlord.
200 IQ move.
He's going to be getting a lot of these drones though, man. They're trying to retreat to these Sunkens, but he lost so many in the process.
Yeah, it's a great attack, and this is costing Omni-Man a lot of mining time. And now you can, but here's comes the counter. Goliath doesn't do well against Dragoons.
No, he will buy some time with the wall, but eventually he can break through here. He needs to get a tank out eventually to start sieging these goons at range, but he won't be able to repair this wall because the Dragoons will just pick off the SCVs, and he's taking so much damage. The Dragoons laying down phase disruptor shots over the wall of the supply post and now able to pick off the SCVs one at a time as they come into repair, so doing a lot of damage here, kind of forcing...
Well.
This is tough. I don't think that Jonic can hold on here. We've got some Zerglings coming in from the rear, but there's not enough surface area for them. They're going to catch one of these Dragoons, but it's being microed away from Onidark, doing a great job of distracting these Lings and keeping the force strong at the front, putting a lot of pressure on this Terran player. Jonic losing a lot of SCVs. It's looking really dire for their team right now. He can't afford to lose this much economy. Terran really needs to be strong in this 2v2 situation.
Yeah, but you can see Onidark, he came with the reinforcement. He has 3 gates, so he just been pumping out the Dragoons non-stop. And if you take a quick look at the map, look where the mines are placed. They're mined at the Zerg Zerg units are fragile. You don't really want the Prowess player roaming around freely on the map.
GG. You're quite right, Mad. That's a really unfortunate game one for Team Zero and Jonic kind of falling apart a little bit to that pressure. Do you think they can get it together and stabilize? What do you think the map choice is here for a Terran Zerg combo?
I'm 100% sure about the map pool, to be honest, but
I think we have a Gaia remake. We have, is it Paradiso? There's a few. The Paranoid Android remake, I believe.
yeah, here you can see the map pool.
Ah,
I don't
okay.
think it's going to be Sparkle. I think it's going to be Fighting Spirit, to be honest.
Yeah, I would like that choice.
Yeah, just a normal map, balanced map for all races. And I like to see Jonic go Marines instead of Tech.
Okay, so let's go over the maps real quick. So we have Luna, obviously the classic, and we got Fighting Spirit, Paranoid Android remake of the original. Also interesting map. The two bases very close together. We got Paradiso, a nice new map in the pool. Then we've got the Gaia remake. Nixios is that. We got Margrathia, and then we've got, of course, the island map Sparkle. So some real great maps here.
It would be fun to see if they went for one of the untraditional maps.
I think they might.
I personally like Paranoid Android because it's a lot smaller than the other maps. So you do have that opportunity to do some early aggression, and the rush distance isn't too far. Yeah. Yeah, I think we are ready.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going into game number 2. We have on the losing team thus far. Can they redeem themselves? In the top right as the yellow Terran Jonic and his teammate. In the top left, the one, the only, the Mr. Bombastic, it's Zero as the red Zerg. And in the bottom left, Omni-Man as the navy blue Zerg with his ally, the magenta, majestic Terran, it's Only Dark.
I think. Oh, it's Terran now. Is Only Dark playing random or is he picking?
It seems so.
Okay. Then we're gonna have a totally different game. So it will be interesting to see.
And random in 2v2, it kind of forces you to want to scout early as well, right? Because you need to identify what you're up against so you can navigate the strategic and build order choice early on.
Yes and no. You don't really lose that much with not knowing the other part as the Terran Sarek team, because you have the Overlord scouting, so you have a 50-50 chance of finding the random. And either way, if the Terran player opens gas, you can switch to pretty much any build from that. You don't have to mine the gas even though you built it, so you can still do Marines just fine.
Right. Do you think anything will change with that once these overlords kiss on the 9 o'clock position and realizes that they don't yet know the race, or do you think he still just won't bother scouting?
I think Jonic is probably going to do late scout, 13 scout probably.
He's going to be sending out an SCV of his own, is Only Dark.
Yeah, he's going to scout Zero because he probably wants to see if it's a 9 pool or maybe a greedy build from Zero. If they could potentially punish it.
It looks like it's just going to be like an overpool or 11 pool type style, though. Nothing too crazy out of Zero thus far. So, or they've now identified the Terran at least. So I wonder what we're going to be seeing as their choice. The Terran already teching up both players, getting their gas online. Going to be probably wanting to throw down those factories.
Yeah, we also see a double hatch, or we have both Zergs getting a hatchery on the cliff, which is really helpful. And here we have a couple of SCVs kissing.
So cute.
Trading punches.
Fusion cutter hugs.
Yeah, we can see Zero starting the gas. He only has 1 on the gas, which and we can see Omni-Man has 2. So in the long run, it's going to favor Omni-Man.
Yeah, definitely banking up that additional gas gonna favor you once the muta tech or what have you is out, having that gas advantage.
You can see they have the same amount of workers. Zero is squeezing out an extra drone, which is fine because they have map control. They know how many links Omni-Man made. So.
Squeezing out 2 drones actually. Mad, he's getting a little greedy. I think he can get away with it though here.
Yeah, should be fine. Just
Marine going to be bullying out this Overlord from the main base in the bottom left.
one Stormtrooper is not going to do that much.
Not quite. I mean, they miss a lot as well, right? Stormtroopers.
Yeah. I'm doing my part.
I'm helping.
I think actually that one Marine would just be fine for Omni-Man. He lost a drone now. You can see he's down to 8 drones.
Oof.
And it really hurts your economy,
I mean,
rebuilding those drones.
I would like to just point out, this is bare minimal Mutalisk production. 5 drones mining minerals, 3 on gas. That's just barely enough to afford one hatchery worth of Mutalisk production constantly. So it's really unideal. He's going to have to squeeze out at least a few more drones. He does start to do so.
So you can see Zero, he has speed, but Omni-Man has a superior numbers of Ling. I'm not sure, maybe his speed kicks in just when they attack, but I think the red team should be fine here.
Yeah, with a couple of Marines on the ramp, Lings to wall, and a Sunken behind it, I don't think either team's going to find any damage here, at least for the time being.
Omni-Man with a slight Spire advantage, slightly faster, but he's supply blocked.
Yeah, but Zero, is Zero ahead of gas? Ahead on gas or behind on gas? It looks like he's behind right now. Like, I thought he was mining more earlier.
Yeah, he's behind. But he invested 100 in speed, and he had 1 drone for mining for a short time.
A little bit unfortunate they didn't go back to mining that just a tiny bit sooner, but it shouldn't matter too much.
Since that Marine forced away the Overlord, they don't really know the Spire timing of Omni-Man, so you can see Zero is making evolution, which is okay. You can have 1 spore at home, which keeps you safe from any backstabbing harassment, but you can do the same help with just leaving 1 or 2 Goliaths there. That's usually enough to scare away some mutas and buys you enough time to fly home and save yourself.
Yeah, I've seen some advanced 2v2 players do the thing where they kind of keep track of your mutas, and if you don't bother making a single spore, they'll even fly in of just 1 or 2 mutas and start harassing your drones while they know your mutas are distracted elsewhere.
I feel like you can see now more the 2 versus 2 experience from Zero and Jonik because they are out on the map. Which, but the only Dark Key has been sitting in space pretty much the entire game, but building up a decent amount of Goliaths doing so.
This is kind of scary as well. I mean, 3 factory worth of Goliaths, that's a lot of Goliaths. And then as long as they don't get surrounded and 2v1'd, they're going to be in a pretty okay spot. The issue is that there's quite a lot of map control for Zero and Jonik with these Lings, with these mutas out on the map, and the Goliaths of Jonik, his own. So if they can maintain this map control advantage and prevent Omni-Man and Only Dark from meeting forces and joining hands, then I think that they can still pull out quite a good win here.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of red on the map, so if the blue team is not being careful, they could get surrounded and could get ugly for the blue team.
It's going to come down to coordination, and can these 2 players somehow join forces and deal with this opposing team currently flooding around on the map, maneuvering, looking for any opportunity to pounce on the blue team. But it looks like now, okay, I think this is actually a good time for them to come out on the map. They've kind of given them enough space that they can now kind of come all the way over to the left-hand side and maybe do a push here on the vertical axis.
Omni-Man, he is up in drones now, and he has more mutas, but I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think he's going to bring out his Zerglings as well, because they do a lot of work, because the Goliaths are not the smartest operators, so they don't attack ground.
Yeah, Mutalisk's going to be diving on top of the front line of Goliaths. Huge Karen booster for a fleet of missiles just flying through the air, doing a lot of damage, and now cleaning up the ground force of the blue team. really quickly. So it looks like Zero and Jonic in a very commanding position here, dealt with that attack very nicely.
Yeah, they dominated that fight a lot bigger than I anticipated. But I think maybe their advantage was that you could see Jonic, he was moving, shooting and moving his Goliaths, while only Dark, he was just standing there and waiting. So you kind of constantly have to babysit your Goliaths, or they will shoot for one target, maybe hunt down one target. So
that was definitely a control and a positioning issue, because both Terran players had their +1 upgrades. There was definitely no upgrade advantage there. It was just purely down to unit control and positioning. Okay, looks like Jonic going to be coming into the bottom right, natural expansion, keeping the Terran locked in his base. Goliaths are not going to be able to push down that ramp anytime soon, so it's going to be a little bit unfortunate for him. And now a small Zergling counterattack to Zero in the top left going to be shut down as he starts to get his second gas online, which is going to allow him to overpower Omni-Man eventually.
yeah, only Dark now is forced to make a siege tanks, which you don't really want to siege. You want mass Goliaths.
Okay, so Zero's kind of got these mutas baited right now. He had some Scourge come in to do some connections, and now he's going to jump on top, and he has some Zerglings underneath, which are going to be soaking up a few of those muta glaives to kind of help him out just a little bit. It's hard to say exactly who's winning this fight. It looks like Zero's just barely coming out on top. Wow.
Yeah, and Zero had the numbers from the first fight as well. And also Defender's advantage is good.
Yeah, it's such a big deal having like those Scourge hatch out of the eggs right at the time that you start to fight. It can be really hard to overpower your opponent unless you've got a significant advantage in your muta count or have a huge gas lead.
I wonder when they're gonna remake the fighting spirits so units don't get stuck where you can see.
I think you can keep dreaming.
Yeah, it's a deserter.
It's a deserter. Oh, that poor guy.
He knows there are Sunkens on the ramp. He's not going up there.
Yeah, he doesn't want any part of that. He's like, nope, I'm out of here.
You can see Zero doing a little bit of annoying micro with the 5 mutas, which is enough to one-shot the drone. You can see he killed one of the gas drones.
And beautiful baiting from Zero. He's done a really good job of like baiting the Mutalisks around and like forcing them to lose a lot of hit points when they finally do come in range of these Karen boosted missiles of these Goliaths. And look at this contain. It doesn't matter that eventually he'll break out. Look how effective it is. Look how cost efficient it is. He's lost all of his Goliaths, and now how is he going to defend against this Zerg reinforcing army?
Yeah, it's funny to see that you're running down 1-on-1 Goliath and 3 Goliaths killed, maybe 4 or 5 Goliaths.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have Omni-Man on the way to help, but it's too little too late. GG. Going to be tying up the series.
We're gonna assume that the top versus bottom was on, and there was a GG.
Yeah. If top versus bottom is on, it is to ally chat by default, so possible they did type GG and we'll never know.
I think maybe you could see maybe the first game was a bit shaky from Jonic and Zero, but it could also have been the first game of the day, a warm-up game, you could say. So
yeah, first game jitters always an issue even for the best of players.
But I think we're going to see Sparkle now, and only Dark has switched over to Pros.
Nice. Well, let's get right on into it. We're cool. We're good, I think.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we're going into game number 3, the tiebreaker on Paradiso, spawning in the top left as the majestic magenta Terran. It's only Dark. And his teammate in the bottom right, also playing random, it's Omni-Man as the bluish-grey Protoss cross-map positions. And on the other team, it's Jonic as this beautiful, handsome nerd as the yellow Terran. And the man himself, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bombastic, it's Zero. That's the great look.
So much for my predictions. All the races are changed, and the map was completely wrong. So I'm just gonna sit back now and shut up for the rest of the game.
I think your crystal ball might have fallen onto the ground and shattered a little bit there, man.
Yeah, I haven't watched it for a couple of weeks. So.
That's alright, you've got very good 2v2 insight. I want to hear a lot from you this game still.
Here we have another example of a tricky map, or 3 of the locations you can wall off, but top left for Only Dark is a bit annoying. You can't have like a fit wall like Jonik.
That's a little bit frustrating. So, do you think that's going to come into play here with these races, or do you think that will not be able to be exploited?
Well, so they don't know that it's not any Zergs other than
Right.
Zero, so...
Yes, for all they know, it could be 2 Zergs, right? And they could be facing like a double 9 pool, and then suddenly that non-Ling tight wall becomes a big problem.
I don't think they seem fairly confident that there's not 2 Zergs. So Zero is opening with 12 hatchery at the natural.
Yeah, Probe Scout going to be coming in and seeing the hatchery first. Greedy play coming out from Zero. Can't blame him in this situation. Being a little bit greedy. If he can get away with it, it's going to put him in a nice position here going forward.
Yeah, they could, for All the Dark, it could have been tricky if Zero opened with the 9 pool. It's kinda, I think even the Marine spawns on the outside, so
Yeah.
you have to be really quick. So you might get 1 Marine in before the Zerglings are there, and then you have to have a hold position with an SCV, and you might have to even repair it.
Yeah, the second Marine pops out more or less as the Lings are arriving, so it's really frustrating because they will kill that Marine for free. One thing to say is that maybe the Lings can't get great surface area on the depot if you block it well enough. So maybe they can hold with a repair, but it's still a bit temperamental of a situation. Okay, so Zealot and the Marine going to be coming down and applying some pressure. And the Sunken is only just now starting, so it's actually a little bit annoying for Zero to have to deal with. Some Lings are on the way, but this creep colony at the very least can be taking a lot of damage. Some drones and Lings are being pulled to try and deal with this. We've got 4 Lings in the main base with another 2 going to be hatching in their natural, so I don't think they're going to be taking any damage here, but it's a little bit annoying getting this Sunken reduced to very low hit points.
Yeah, but it didn't go under 100 HP, so it will generate quite fine.
Good play from Jonik there, getting the better trade-off on those Marines. So now we got the low HP Marine still alive and supporting Zero. Nice little team play there, just helping out enough. And yeah, with the Sunken on 20 hit points, it does lose 100 once that creep morphs, so they got a lot of damage done.
Yeah, they got a lot more than I believe.
It is a bit of a win for them. They could come in here later on, and with that softened up Sunk, it's a much weaker position.
Yeah, with the second Sunken, Zero should be fine, and it seems like you can see the blue team is going ground unit heavy, like investing a lot of early pressure, so I think we're going to see a massive unit ball and maybe 1 attack and GG. I
think you might be quite right in your astute observation there, man. I think it might be just the case what we have. Okay, we have the Zealots now running up the ramp, Marines behind, and the Vulture to support. Going to put a lot of damage onto this depot. SCVs coming off the line to repair. Only 3 of them maybe can get, although the Marines actually blocking more than 3 getting onto that depot for the time being, so not getting the full repair that they could maybe otherwise get. Lings coming from back, going to be clearing up those. Oh, man.
Look at the probe. The Lings did an amazing job, actually. Yeah. I didn't think they were going to clear out that fast.
No, that was very nicely dealt with there by Zero. Really well played.
I think Zero can play either start his lair or put down a 3rd hatchery. It looks like he's saving up some minerals to go on holiday or something. I'm not sure.
He's saving up for StarCraft 3, okay? It's an expensive game.
Now we're going to see two dead Dragoons.
It's actually a really nice pit catching these Dragoons with the Lings. If you can find this other Dragoon, it's going to be a little bit of a thorn in the side of Only Dark. We do really need a critical mass of Dragoons. Omni-Man, sorry.
Yeah, and you can see the red team is retaking much of the map control.
Yeah, and the map... And the map control is everything in 2v2. Once you have map control, you can start to isolate players, and it really becomes a problem for the opposing team. So right now, it's looking really Zero and Jonik favored.
Yeah, you really want the map control. You don't want to be playing in the dark. You want to be able to switch over to the right unit composition.
you need the right tools for the job, and if you just make a cookie cutter build, cookie cutter units, you're not going to be eating cookies at the end of the game. Those cookies are going to crumble.
And right now, I don't think Omni-Man has a DeWalt toolbox. It looks a bit like a cheaper brand.
Cheaper brand, off-brand, duo. Okay. What would that be called?
I don't know, Ryobi or some Scandinavian.
I like it, man. I like it. Okay, so the Goliaths do try and poke forward to get out of the map, but they don't know how many mines are out here, so they're going to be a little bit cautious in trying to push forward here. Goliaths are quite good at killing mines, though, I would say.
Yeah, you don't often see mine connection to Goliaths. And when you first do it, it doesn't do that much damage. It's usually just one or two Goliaths wandering about.
Mad, you're a veteran turn player. Could you maybe talk a little bit about the unique targeting system of Goliaths? They can both be dumb and smart at the same time with how the targeting of those guns actually works.
Yeah, it's kind of like boxing. You have to bob and weave. You can't just... You have to refocus fire. Kind of like either one step back or one step forward.
Right, that makes sense.
And for instance, in a Goliath fight, you have maybe the opponent start firing at one of your Goliaths, and if you move that back, maybe 3 or 4 Goliaths of the opponents move forward, so you get some free extra shots. So you constantly have to watch them, so they don't try to be heroes.
It seems like Goliaths seem to be like sentient almost, and have a mind of their own.
Yeah.
A little bit of a Ling being annoying in Omni-Man's base here. Zero getting the full scout off on exactly what they're up to. So it's going to be really good for their team going forward, knowing exactly what they're up against.
Yeah, and I think as soon as Zero comes with the Muta switch, it's game over. We're going to see now the blue team is preparing for a sandwich, bringing out the big guns, SCVs.
Yeah, SCVs to tank some of the siege line shots, but there's 4 tanks in a beautiful position. Goliath's moving forward, going to get on top of these tanks while the Dragoons sandwich from behind. They're going to clean up this force rather efficiently. And now we have Omni-Man and OnlyDark exploding out onto the map. They have full map control now. Huge infantry force of these Goliaths and Dragoons going to be making their way down to the south, to the bottom left quadrant, putting a lot of pressure on Zero. And he has Sim City, which will be likely to fall to these Dragoons. He might not lose the Sunkwins for a while, but he will be able to chip away at this macro hatchery and the Hydroden at the front.
Yeah, and they have a lot of units, and Janak is in no position. He can't move out on the map. Two tanks versus 10 Dragoons and 20 Goliaths.
Looks like they're going to just rotate on over to the other side of the map and make sure they clean up all these forces that are trying to set up some mines outside the expansion area of Omni-Man, trying to desperately cling on to some kind of map control containing this Protoss threat in the bottom right, but unable to do so. Muta's also coming into the main base. We do have a lot of Dragoons, and Mutas do beat Dragoons in a straight-up fight, but there are 2 cannons supporting here in the main.
Yeah, it seems like, I think maybe he had an observer, so he saw the Mutas coming. Because you can see he moved back all of his Dragoons in a good position, so he won't be dealing much damage.
No, I mean, if there was only Dragoons and there was pure Muta, maybe something could be done here, but with the cannon supporting the Dragoons, it's really hard for him to find anything.
They backed up pretty early from Zero. As you said, I think they could have killed at least one hatchery, maybe got the Hydroden as well.
We do also have the weapons upgrade and armor upgrade on the way for OnlyDark now as well, so going to be very strong in his upgrade soon with that 1-1 timing.
It's hard for Janak and Zero to sync up in the cross position, especially when they have so much units, the blue team. Sometimes the Terran player could make his 2nd or 3rd factory at the Zerg base, so he can put down siege tanks, which pretty much makes the Zerg player invincible. You can't attack him.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way of fortifying your Zerg ally. I like to see that play as well, man. And look at this force. It's going to be sandwiched so heavily. He's coming in and sieging up and trying to deal with these huge flood of Dragoons to the south. But meanwhile, we have from behind OnlyDark just moments away, sandwiching this army.
That's a great mine connection.
It's a tasty Terran sandwich. But look at all those Dragoons that have gone down already. So right now it's actually looking like Jonic traded pretty cost efficiently, and it's starting to go Zero and Jonic's way a little bit. They kind of zoned out the armies just barely enough to fight them, kind of 2v1, just enough to not lose too much units too cost inefficiently. So the trade's gone okay, but it still looks like only Dark and Omni-Man going to be coming out on top slowly.
They have so many Goliaths, even though they came one by one and got decimated, but it's a tight fight, so this kind of resets who controls the map. So now we're back to even after that fight, I feel.
Yeah, I would say that evened out quite significantly. I was a little bit worried there for a second that the two forces would synchronize much more efficiently for the blue team and they would crush that Terran position really efficiently, but it looks like actually Jonic and Zero like zoned them out just enough and dealt with them in that trickle fight, just barely coming out with a fairly even trade to like kind of even the score and allow both players to make some new plays, more factories going down, more upgrades on the way. Third base coming down for the Protoss player as well, so going to be ramping up in their production going into the mid to late phase.
Yeah, and a huge macro spike from Only Dark as well. You can see it's adding down 3 factories. I think I see Jonic is having 5, but if Omni-Man gets that third base up and running, I think the red team could be in deep trouble.
Yeah, well, they're going to try and stop that from happening. We do have the siege tanks already containing the rally point of Omni-Man here in the bottom right. Mutalisk also, all these probes need to be careful. Some of these probes going down to those Mutalisk, and now the cannon also going to fall at this third base natural. There are also some links here to support this Terran mech. Looks like there's not many units coming down to support, and there are some mines along the way, so hopefully these Goliaths are going to be smart and shoot. This is why Goliaths are good. They just help clear and escort the tanks across the map like this, so you don't really have to look at what's happening. What do you think?
Remember that Only Dark's horse got obliterated, so he was down to 0 units, so it takes some time to rebuild Goliaths and siege tanks, which while Jonic can just pump out 1 unit, just tanks.
Yeah, the timing of this attack is like really impeccable. If they'd waited another minute or two, there'd be a lot more force coming from the northwest side, but he'd only just gotten those factories online, hadn't yet had enough time to pump out a significant amount of units. A really well coordinated effort from Zero and Jonic here, putting a lot of pressure onto this Protoss, reducing his economy down to 18 workers. Now have killed the Nexus in the natural as well, so red team looking really strong here.
Yeah, I think maybe the third base was a little bit greedy. He could have added more gates in his main, made it tech up, speed cells and storm is essential, especially when you don't have air control. So I would like to see Dark Archon for my Storm, because they can't cope with that many mutas.
I think Maelstrom is quite meta in 2v2 as well. You see it quite often, don't you?
Yeah, you see it more and more. You can see the top players, they almost skip using the Dark Templar and go straight for Dark Archon.
Makes sense. Especially with the prevalence of mutas in 2v2s, I think it's a really strong option. Getting on top of these Goliaths, it's hard to say exactly who's going to win the Goliath and Muta fight, because sometimes it looks like the mutas are losing and then the Goliaths lose, so it's kind of hard to judge sometimes, but looks like going to be able to back away those mutas with the remaining Goliaths.
I'm not sure
He's coming round 2 though.
What the upgrades on the mutas are, but the Only Dark has the Carface, so they even out their air attack.
But there is 1+1 armor on these Goliaths as well, so the Mutaglave's not quite as efficient, reducing the incoming damage by roughly 2.5 per glaive because of the bounce, so it's pretty effective having that armor.
Jonic bringing out 12 SUVs. He also wants a nomination for the Pimpus Play Award, along with Strudel. You can see the Terran players bring out all the tricks.
We need to bring back Pimpus plays, don't we? We need a more modern day version of it.
Yeah, but some of the Pimpus plays, was, you can call it exploiting bugs and errors in the game, which they have fixed. So now it's a lot harder to do the pimp play.
That's very true.
You could jump a drone on Fighting Spirit, but
yeah, that's true. Anyway, GG is called. Wow, that's a bit of a table flip, don't you think? I didn't think it was going to go that way, but really well executed timing attack in the bottom right. I think punishing that greedy play from Omni-Man trying to get that third base up way too early, I think.
Yeah, that game had 2 potential winners. It was swinging both ways and resetting the unit count, but in the end, I think maybe Jonik and Zero were the better team with more experience, and you can see they synced up their army, and the blue team really didn't get that unit composition they needed.
Well, Mr. Bombastic and Jonik going to be going through, not going to be eliminated here in the Pro League. Looking pretty strong thus far. We're going to be going into our next series in a few minutes. We've got Jadong Polka and Mazer going up against Proball and Leydig. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
We do down Johannesburg way. Butter is the name of the dance we do down Johannesburg way. Hit it!
Guys, welcome back. We're going to be going into the third series between Jidong Poker and Mazer, going up against ProLeague and Leydig on Luna number 1. We have spawning in the top right on the blue team as the rather handsome nerd playing as the Protoss race. It's Mazer! And his teammate in the top left, picking that majestic magenta, none other than, I believe, how do you say that name? Yeah, Jipiki Lopez. I knew I would butcher that if I just attempted it. We're just going to call him Lopez.
Or JD Poker.
JD Poker. JD Poker is fine. And his teammate in the bottom left as the yellow Zerg, it's ProLeague. And his teammate in the bottom right, Leydig.
I think Lay is he casted the last two series, if it's the same person, or the previous 2 versus 2. So he got a lot of insights on the 2 versus 2. So
he's gonna be throwing down the 9 pool as well. Is Leydig in the bottom right? So far we have an Overlord first, so maybe 11 pool, 11 hatch or something along those lines coming out from ProLeague to support that. We do have the fast gas as well for that really quick speed or lair timing from Leydig in the bottom right. Probably going to be that speed first for map control.
yeah, I think they want early to see if it's 9 pool or if he's doing some greedy build, because Protoss and Zerg, you do want to be active out on the map and maybe get a choke on the ramp.
He's going to be throwing down that hatchery right in the natural. If they do get map control with this 9 pool speed early on, and they get away with that early expansion, it's going to be nice for them.
Did JD Poker as well? He opened 9 pool. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I believe so. Do have the Lings hatching at 2 minutes 20 for both players. That's definitely a 9 pool. Looks like we're going to be having more or less mirror style from them for the time being, at least.
So Leahy will have to go straight over to ProLeague to secure his base, so he doesn't take any damage.
Ooh, he's distracted with this probe though, so
Yeah,
these Lings are going to get some damage on, yeah.
Depending on how much they, if it doesn't seem like he wants to commit, but he's adding two more links are coming, so it's going to be 8 versus 6. But ProLeague will have his links on his own pretty soon, so maybe they're.
You do have to be careful when you're splitting your Lings up like this, because if their speed pops and they just get on top of like one of these packs of Lings and they kill like 3 Lings for free, you're just so far behind in the Ling fight.
Yeah, you are. We can see the probe over at the JD, and seeming like they want to build cannons.
Ooh, look at that early evolution chamber. I think we're going to be seeing some very early upgrades for the Lings here.
Yes, I think the blue Zerg should stop making Zerglings now. Go home, drone up, and get his own mutas.
What do you think about this evolution chamber and maybe going for like a fast melee upgrade for the Zerg?
It's standard to do as the opponent Zerg, but you can see that the blue Zerg is not doing that.
Do you think he's doing this in anticipation of expecting his opponent to do the same?
Yeah, I think so. You kind of want to have match the upgrades, or else your links will melt.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
It's either fast +1, or you have to do three hatch Zerglings, because if you have 3 hatch Zerglings, you don't necessarily need the +1 attack, because you will have a superior number and eventually win the fight. Of course, you will take great losses, but you will have the better macro play.
I really like the spire placement, by the way, of in the bottom right. Actually increases the optimization of this gas just by a little bit. It's not so good mining gas from the bottom, but with the spire placed here, it does optimize it ever so slightly.
Yeah, the drone seems slightly faster.
Yeah, I
Bouncing
like
back
it.
and forth, yeah. I'm not sure if is Protoss going Corsairs, because they're going to need some anti-air soon. Yeah,
Well,
hidden
yeah,
Stargate, yeah.
yeah, we saw the core being thrown down, so I imagine he was going to be going Stargate, especially up against the Zerg team.
Yeah, it's a bit, can't say late, because the mutas are fast, but
Well, it's a very normal timing, isn't it? Like, it's the kind of timing you would have if you were doing like a Forge Fast expand. So it is late relative to being a 1 base build, I would say.
yeah, it's late but fast.
It's late but fast. You heard it first. And a Spore on the ramp and main going to be helping out prevent any form of damage. We have the 2 cannons flanking the other side as well, so really well turtled to deal with the initial pressure and potential
Yeah,
ling bust.
I like that it's a Spore and not a Sunken, because if it had been a Sunken, as you say, it could have been harassing on the right side of the hatch, and but the Spore in the main is a little bit misplaced.
Yeah, he's going to shut down a lot of mineral patches with just 1 Mutalisk for some time, so it is a little bit frustrating. He is still mining from the gas, which is important, but yeah, it's a bit unfortunate having quite a few. Ooh, loses that Mutalisk to the Spore. That's a big mistake.
That Spore in the main for the blue Zerg is disrupting his mining as well. You can see the drones on the far side there going. That's a long way to mine.
Yeah, the economy for him is not going to be so much that he can put on enough pressure to deal with the Mutaflood that's going to be coming out soon. He's not going to be mining his minerals or his gas very optimally compared to the other Zerg players, so it's going to be really hard for him to come out here, I think, later on.
And now Probable has +1 on his Zerglings.
And much faster as well, right? Like, he's going to get that way faster than...
Did he skip it? Did
wait.
he not make?
He must have cancelled. Wait, no, there it is. There it is. See,
there
it is.
Okay.
You're quite right, though, Mad. It should have finished just then, because it just did.
Yeah, well, I think it was clicked on Lay's link, and he didn't go +1. It was the wrong link. Because I saw Probo started the Carapace.
I thought you were right, because it should have been done around that time, and it just finished after we started talking about it. Ooh, Scourge trying to make a connection on these Corsairs, not able to do so, dancing around that kind of... Yeah, double Stargate, I like it. I think it's a good choice, making sure that we don't lose any air superiority.
Yeah, I think Lay is going to have trouble defending versus Corsairs.
Yeah, he will.
But we did see a colony in Lay's space. I'm not sure if that was Lay's colony or it's Probol that was laid down to make a Spore.
Mm.
There you can see the drone, yeah.
And Jadon Poker's starting to come out with his lings now. He's got his own +1 timing, so there's no upgrade advantage for either player, but we'll be kind of cancelling one another out. There's so many lings for both sides. With the Muta support and Corsair, it's going to really decide who's going to win this fight. So if the Corsairs are able to zone out the Mutas, which they will be able to do so, it's going to be really hard for these lings to contain him. So eventually he will have to start backing out, I think, soon.
Mutas won't be able to help in this fight, but the red team do have they did have the concave advantage.
It's looking pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, the concave advantage is really working well for them thus far.
But the blue Zerg, he doesn't have to go far back to get support of the cannons, and a few cannon shots on the links can help a lot.
And with Luna, you do have this other path of attack as well, so it's a big wide arc you have to cover to keep him contained. So he's just going to abandon that contained attempt, it looks like, and allow these blue team to come out on the map and take control.
Now blue has a lot of units on the map, with the Zealots as well.
Oh, with the Zealots as well, it's going to be almost impossible for these Lings to get anything done here. Zealots trade so much more efficiently against these Lings, even though they have the +1 upgrade with the DPS output of Poker's Lings as well. It's going to be really tough for him.
This is a 2 versus 1 fight, and I don't think ProLeague has a sunken either. I think it's 3 spores.
It's 3 spores. No, it's 3 spores.
Yeah,
You're right.
Spores.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. He's going to lose all of his overlords, even though he's got spores.
I think. Oh, the blue team. I think maybe they should have taken that fight. They should have committed. But there's a free expansion on the right side, so yeah.
They're just going to swing on over to this side. We do have the Lings trying to come out and help, but the Zealots and Lings are already joined forces and will be able to fight together against these Lings. So they will trade cost efficiently. Both Sunkards are going to go down, and with the Zealots engaging the Zealots in the rear now, it's going to be really impossible for Lei and ProLeague to trade cost efficiently. The Corsairs are still reigning supreme out in the air as well, so it's going to be really tough for them here.
Actually, the red team do clean this up. I'm sort of surprised.
Yeah, there is a lot of Lings, but he is going to start losing more and more overlords as these Corsairs start roaming the map. The bottom right side is not spored up, so it's going to be really tough for them here.
Yeah, Lei is going to be supply buff for ages, so you can see he cannot spend the 1200 gas he has saved up.
Yeah, this is the problem, is that we have no anti-air besides this one spore now just starting in the main base in the bottom right, so it's really rough. He's going to be losing quite a few overlord supply buff for a very long time. He will eventually start to spend that gas, but it's going to take quite a long time, and by that time we have such a huge economy up here for blue.
But the second carapace wasn't started, so if you want to go mutas, you have to have this the second carapace on the mutas to hold up the Corsairs.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that Jaedong Poker here hasn't actually squeezed out that many drones. He's been still on 9 drones, even though he's taken this expansion. So he's been almost pure Zergling for a very long time. So he's only just now starting to squeeze out a few extra drones to try and complement his own economy to keep up with Lei and ProLeague over here. So right now the Protoss is looking pretty healthy, but still not so healthy for Jaedong Poker. He needs to squeeze out some drones, get this natural expansion up and running, and saturate it as much as he can.
I think it was looking rather good for the red team early on, and then suddenly it took a turn where I actually believed the blue team was just gonna run down Lei and take it with that fight. But ProLeague did a great job saving him, and both teams have stabilized right now. And Azor is losing a few Corsairs here and there, so he don't really have a superior air number.
He looks like he's making a pair of DTs as well, so he wants to zone out these overlords with the Sez and then use the DTs to gain a lot of damage out in the open field. So it's going to be really tough for them to attack if they can't get any overlords up here.
Just do not click R. Do not morph them now. That's the worst feeling. Like, I have DTs, I'm safe, and then
Could you not just change the key binding and like put it on the other side of the keyboard so you never accidentally hit it?
Then you can have the same excuse as Artosis. It didn't work.
Okay, well, beautiful surface area for these Lings are going to help them trade against these Hydras. There are some Mutalisks helping, but there's not that many fighting right now to use, so it looks like Blue's going to be able to clean this up really nicely.
Really nice game back and forward, and you can see even Jaedong Poker's building up his drone force with 2 additional drones, so... But he must be pretty sore in his finger now. It's clicking SC for 12 minutes.
Okay, well, we have a bit of an egg block here, going to be reducing some of the time that it takes for these Lings to break through. But unfortunately for him, there is a lot of army following this up, and there's nothing to defend apart from these Sunkens. So how is he going to hold this? There's so many units.
It's so much blue, and I don't think they have speed overlord as well. Then if the Corsairs take out the overlord, they don't have anything for the dickies.
And he needs to kill this Sair fleet, because even if they don't die now, eventually they'll be de-webbed to deal with the mass Hydra and all sorts of craziness. He's doing so much damage, kills this natural hatchery. Looks like the macro hatchery is going to go down as well. So much damage has been done, man.
Yeah, you can see Lei was typing that he was about to stabilize. His eco was kicking in to +2, and 30 seconds later, it's completely turned around.
Wow, really back and forth series thus far. This could be a very exciting best of 3 we have here.
Yeah, I feel it's not really a comeback, but I feel like the blue team done a great job, especially Matsur, being able to take down the get an expansion, and they've been picking the right fights.
Yeah, it looks like it's like Lay's last hope, trying to desperately hold on. He's down to 3 workers, not looking too good for him. Meza with his Corsair fleet absolutely decimating those Mulists. They are gonna have to retreat to the safety of the Hydralisk coming, but he's gonna lose the hatchery. GG is called. Game 1 going to Team Meza.
Matsur at the end there, he had more units than all 3 other players combined, so doing a great job growing up, keeping his Corsair alive, and yeah, just not gonna say flawless game, but we are not here to judge. We are here to be entertained in the gladiator ring.
Certainly are. But we're going to get right on into game number 2 here with these players. Don't go anywhere, guys. Spawning in the top right, we have for Team ProLeague as the olive Zerg. Was that pale green? My bad. In the top left is Ally. Now I believe playing random, because now he's Terran. It's Lay. And on the bottom side, we have in the bottom left as the magenta Zerg is none other than Jidong Poker. And his teammate looking rather stellar with his Corsair play last game. It's Meza as the yellow's Protoss.
He might be related to JD XuN. They might be brothers, same race and same name.
Yeah, you might be onto something there.
Like you said, I think Lay is playing random, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. You might be right. So what do you think we're going to see here with the Terran randomized here? Do you think that's going to change things quite a lot?
I do think ProLeague as well likes to play random, but they might feel forced to pick, like it's an important game. You do want to play your strongest race. But now I think not sure what to think. I don't like the 9 hatch opening because it's pretty much an early all-in build.
Well, kind of, yeah. You're getting that extra lava by getting such a fast hatchery, so you do have more lings earlier on, but you're really sacrificing your economic curve to do so, and you can't really ramp up your production as easily.
Oh, you won't be able to do 9 hatch mutas unless you can squeeze out a few.
You have to play defensive and squeeze out drones to do that, though.
Do a few greedy drones, maybe a six lings and a sunken on the cliff, and then just make drones.
Yeah, that'd be one option. Like 6-8 lings on the ramp and then squeeze out a few drones. You could still go for the lair play then, I think.
Well, it could have been like the first game with Jonik and Zero. That it could have been the first game of the day, and kind of fingers are cold. You're a bit nervous. You know, hundreds of people that are going to watch this and talk to their children about this game. It's a lot of things on the line, you know?
Oh, it's a lot of things on the line. A lot of bragging rights, a lot of pride, a lot of ego.
Often when I go to the store or something, I meet up with friends and like, yeah, did you catch the game last night? And they be like, yeah, Manchester United was playing great or something. Like, no, not that game, moron.
The real game.
Yeah. You think I'm really gonna spend 90 minutes watching a football game when I can watch BroodWar for 6 hours?
Seems like an easy choice to me. Well, the Zergling's probably not going to get a whole lot done here. SUVs are going to be blocking this gap in the wall.
Two SUVs on the wrong side as well, so that's hurtful.
Yeah, you don't really want them to be scouting right now. You kind of need these mining and at least providing some value to you. Oh, going to be getting the catch on. It's a beautiful catch right now. Amazing from ProLeague catching that Zealot like that. Beautiful link control.
That's huge. I think he already had the sunken. Yeah, has a sunken, has the links, and has one drone on gas. No, I think he pulled the one back. Yeah, so it was mining a little bit of gas, but he needs the mineral to hold.
It might seem like just one unit, but I can't elaborate enough how important it is to pick off a Zealot. He wants that 3 Zealot timing to put pressure on the ramp. Catching that first Zealot really takes the power and the wind out of his sails in the early game.
And you can see by doing so, ProLeague knows he don't really need the sunken, so he just leaves it there. Maybe he can use it for a spore later.
Yeah, it's actually a good optimization not to morph it and just keep it there, because he will probably want to maybe use it for something else, even if it does eventually become a sunken.
He did have his overlord at Prada, so he will also see if more salads were coming out. So all in all, just leave it there and maybe use it for later.
Yeah, we're having the bio play from Terran for earlier map control and earlier presence, so they can join forces and try and isolate these two players that are just turtling right now with the cannons on their own.
We have the first move out from the Terran player with a few Marines and Medic. I think we're actually gonna see a drone call.
Yeah, he will break through eventually. He needs to.
Yeah, we need the drones, or else this is GG. It's going to be. Oh, look at that probe.
Oh wow, that's a hero probe, but more lings are coming. He's gonna get on top of the cannon. He's gonna get on top of the cannon, and there's more lings coming, man. This is terrible.
Drones, 2 seconds too late. Yeah, this is too much damage.
The Marines have arrived and just gunned down all of this. GG is called already being. Wow. Quick tie up.
I believe Flash were in the army, but obviously he's been hiding in Lay's body.
Seems so. I mean, those Marines were moving like Zerglings across the map, just getting right into position, gunning down those drones instantly with those Gauss rifles. Wow, we're going to be going into game number 3 on Paradiso, I think, guys. Is going to be their choice on map.
Yeah, it looks so. I think we're just going to jump right into it.
Okay, guys, quick little intermission. Did you think they're going to stabilize from here? Or do you think they're just going to get a crush 2-1 after that slightly disastrous opening, getting completely...
Really quick game, but it's depending on Lay's race, maybe? It looked like Masur and JD could... they played really well versus 2 Zergs. So, and depending on the map... Yeah, Paradiso, was that the remake of Gaia, or is that like...
No, Paradiso is basically
like Fighting Spirit.
Yeah, it's basically yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ready. Alright guys, we are all tied up going into game number 3. Spawning in the top left, we have ProLeague. That's the yellow Zerg. And his teammate in the top right. Is it Flash? Who knows? It's Lay as the brown Terran. And on the opposing team, we have Jidong Poker as the red Zerg in the bottom right, here on Paradiso. And his teammate, Mazer, he got a little bit busted open, but he's ready for round 2. He's ready for round 3. Can he take it all the way? We're gonna find out right now.
Is it the same old school Masur that's been around for ages, or are they 2 of them? Yeah. I remember playing one versus him. It must be like 15 years ago or something.
Wow, it's a long time.
Yeah, he's been around since the dinosaurs. So.
It's always good to see the old faces in the scene showing up again. Ooh, look at this very fast pull timing and sunken rush.
I like this strategy. I think maybe Paradiso is... Oh, it's SCVs.
Wow.
Oh,
Double worker rush, and with sunkens as well, he can make sunkens in his base. It's going to be really hard to defend this. The SCVs have 60 HP apiece. How is he going to fight the SCVs and stop the sunkens going up at the same time?
Yeah, but I do like doing this strategy. It's better with the probes because you have the range +1 attack on the probes, so it's easier to micro than the SCVs. The SCVs dies fairly fast versus drones. Yeah, it's like ProLeague says, it's a big map, and that's why I don't really like this strategy, maybe on Paradiso, but the sunkens go down.
Yeah, and you do need at least 2 or 3 drones hitting these creeps to stop the sunkens from going up.
He can't drill on the... He needs to drill on the gas.
He's not going to get it. He's taken it. Sunken down already to 100 HP. So once
Yeah.
it morphs, it's one hit. They've done it, I think, because
Yeah,
there's no way he can
dead.
defend it. He's completely dead. Oh, mad! This is crazy.
And he doesn't have any money for another sunken.
He's gonna. He did. Yeah, they've done it, and they denied the sunken on the right going up, but it doesn't matter. With these two sunkens in range of the hatchery, they've done it.
Actually surprised it went so well. I thought JD was prepared for it.
No, I mean, from me looking at the pool timings, it looked like he was dead.
Look at this. Ah, but that's Zerglings,
The pro brush. I mean, who knows? I mean, Zerglings can still get drilled, so he might be able to do something here. But I mean, it's looking pretty bleak. Let's be honest. Like 4 probes against like a handful of lings. I don't think it's going to go well for the probes.
Four probes in a dream.
Chip in the chair.
I don't think JD is going to be able to do anything either because he's going to die before his Zerglings. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he's just going to die. Wow. That's really unfortunate. He actually, I think, could have made a guess, but did not.
See how much fight there is left in Mazur. You know, we're starting to get old, so he probably has carpal tunnel syndrome or something. So
He's definitely slowing down in age, like all of us.
he can't play 2 versus 1 for too long.
I doubt it. Yeah, especially not against players of this caliber.
Yeah, he gotta rest up and put some lotion on.
I mean, if it was like if it was like C or D ranks, maybe he could handle a 2v1 in this situation. But against people of similar caliber, it's gonna be really tough for him going forward.
Yeah, and he has the sunken, and you see Lei, he's switching over to tech, and then you have the vulture in the mine. So no, it's. I respect the fight. You have to fight this last game, and you gotta do the best of it because Probo, he's short on drones, he's low eco, but he can't be killed. So.
Yeah, that's the problem though. These players will just start to ramp up their production. Factories will go down, and they'll have way more workers than him. He's already struggling along on just a handful of workers, so it's going to be tough going forward.
But
I think.
I'm not too sure about this wall. If the Souths can get in.
You know what? It actually looks. It looks like they can. I'm not 100%. It is tight actually. Is it? Is it tight and they're just blocking? The Marines blocking it?
It doesn't seem like the Souths can reach it. Else it's not trying. I don't know.
That's the thing. If he manually moved Commander to the Marine, do you think he can attack the Marine if he moves the Zealot into position manually, or not?
I think so because sometimes the Zealots gets +1 as well. You can see Bonnet. He usually throws the knives.
Yeah, these Zealots have ninja stars sometimes in the hands of some of these players.
Yeah, some of them they don't have blades. They have swords. So like a samurai sword.
Well, the units attack a little bit further at certain angles, right? Even though they're melee.
Yeah, that's true. You can see sometimes if you place the siege tank on diagonally, it shoots further.
Yeah, it seems like pretty much all the units in StarCraft attack a lot better on the diagonal angles. Small force of Zealot and Goon going to be trying to make a way to this 9 o'clock high ground ridge, trying to put on some pressure now.
Yeah, they had a few more Dragoons maybe with the range. He can do some damage from the lower side.
Well, if he doesn't mine up this left-hand side quick enough, and maybe the Dragoons can get into position to start ranging down the drones as well, it's possible, right? There's only Vulture support at the moment, and with the Zealots protecting the Dragoons, he might be able to do some economic damage to the Zerg. Mines are being laid on the high ground to try and slow this down.
I don't think he knows about the mines.
I don't think so either.
Now he does.
Now he does. He's going to be able to block this ramp, shutting out the reinforcements for the time being, so maybe he can make something work here gradually, slowly but surely. But with the mines out, it's going to be really tough for him to come up here and reinforce.
Yeah, the longer he waits, he just gives the blue team the opportunity to sandwich. As you can see, he's putting down the third sunken, so now he can't hurt from the bottom side.
Yeah, I think his window's kind of gone now, unfortunately. He's not going to be able to do any damage to the Zerg here.
Yeah, he didn't have the range as well, so
He's making a robo, so eventually we'll have the observers coming out, and the Zealot tries to get in and get a drone, but unable to do so. Going to be picked off quite quickly with the Sunken's in position.
It's going to be hard for Mazur as soon as the mutas are out, because he can't be defending and attacking at the same time, and building cannons, like, it slows down everything else.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck right now because he needs to worry about the Zerg, but the Terran's also out there building up strong as well. So it's going to be really tough fighting this 1v2. He's going to try and come in here with the Zealot and Goon.
And he's not there.
He's not even there. No, he's just going to get a pincer on these units with the Zerglings as they try and snipe the Spy. He's desperately trying to kill this Spy. He knows he can't handle the Mutas and the Terran. The Spy is on enough hit points to not die, though. However, they got it down to like 120 or so, but not enough to kill it. So unfortunately for him, he will be having to deal with these Mutas with more or less pure Dragoon and a couple of cannons, which is really going to slow down his build. And just pure Dragoon is not going to beat Mutas in a straight-up fight as the game progresses.
Yeah, I believe he did what he had to do, try to kill the Spire, slow it down for a few minutes, so he could go out on the map and at least try to attack the Zerg. I think it's easier for Protoss if he had been able to kill the Zerg or hurt him more, because it's easier for him to play one base versus Terran than the Zerg player.
Yeah, and these Vultures now able to get high ground vision just by sliding up the ramp a little bit, going to be taking out these Zealots and now starting to lay down mines, putting on a bit of pressure while the Lings start to flood in. If the Lings can get surface area on the Goons, it's going to be lights out. But with the Goons kind of forward and in position, the Lings will not be able to get in there. So for the time being, going to be holding on.
Yeah, we have mutas on the map, and Master do have a lot of units, but it's hard. Where is he going to attack?
Yeah, Probol's just going to be checking with the Mutas, making sure he's staying honest by having to make these cannons. And once he does see the cannons, he's going to back out and build up a few more Mutalists before trying to go back in again. It's really difficult, though, having to make those cannons while also pumping out 3 gate worth of Goons and having to go observers. Like, it's kind of really, like, railroaded his production.
But this is a lot of Dragoons. If he can get up the ramp, Zerg, because Probol doesn't have speedlings, so the speed doesn't, or the Zerglings doesn't do that much damage.
Yeah, there's no Sunkens on the ramp or anything, so he could get up there and do a lot of damage to the Zerg if the Terran's not able to help him tonight. And he actually is coming in here. Mad, he actually could maybe make something work. Lings are going for a counter-attack, though. Can he hold his own base while trying to take out the Zerg? He is saying counter. Probol wants him to counter.
I think that might be the right move as well, but...
Yeah, the cannon's not even finished. Mutalisk starting to chip away at the Goons while the Lings come up the ramp. He's going to be able to get on top of his gateway production and shut down this. Cannon's going to be falling just as it pops. Really well optimized damage output from Probol here, doing the best job he can at mitigating anything from this Protoss player before he can stabilize. Probes coming off the line to fight the Lings, but there's also Terran forces coming in to reinforce.
This happens 9 out of 10 times, dude. Like, you're morphing a cannon and it's nearly done, but it never gets to finish before the attack comes. You feel like the cannon is 100% for 8-9 seconds, but it doesn't complete.
It's such a long animation. GG is cool. Wow.
Decent effort from Mazur, and I understand that this fight. I think that means that Mazur and Jaedong are out.
Yes, I believe so. But it was a valiant attempt to hang on there. Like you say, you got to fight it out in an elimination situation like that.